When you start focusing on yourself, truly and unapologetically, the world begins to shift. Not because the world changes, but because your perception of it does. Suddenly, you're not chasing validation from people who never even saw your worth. You stop competing with those who were never running your race. You start hearing your own thoughts, discovering your true potential, and breaking free from the prison of comparison. The strength you seek is not out there, it's buried deep within you, waiting to be uncovered. And that happens only when you redirect your energy inward. Focus isn't selfish, it's survival. It's the fuel that ignites your inner power. You have to stop watering dead plants and start growing your own garden. Because once you do, nothing can shake you, not the storms, not the silence, not the shadows. Most people fear solitude, but solitude is where your mind begins to heal. In the quiet, you meet yourself without the noise, without the roles, without the expectations. You begin to hear your dreams louder than your doubts. You begin to confront your fears with the courage you didn't know you had. This is where mental strength is forged, in isolation, in stillness, in reflection. It's not built in comfort. It's built when you stand alone and refuse to give up. When you sit with your pain and learn from it, you become dangerous. Dangerous to the doubts that used to cripple you. Dangerous to the excuses that used to limit you. You don't need more people around you. You need more belief within you. Stop begging for love and start giving that love to yourself. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you build a new layer of strength. It's not about massive leaps. It's about those silent steps you take daily. Waking up early when your mind wants sleep. Saying no when you've always said yes. Walking away from chaos even when your heart is attached. These are not small wins, they're the bricks that build unshakable resilience. Focus means turning down the volume of the world to hear your own frequency. When you learn to master your emotions instead of being mastered by them, your world changes. You begin to respond instead of react. You become intentional with your energy. And soon the same situations that once broke you now teach you. This is how you become mentally stronger, not overnight, but moment by moment. The biggest battle you'll ever face is between your ears. That inner voice that tells you you're not enough, that you'll fail, that it's too late, it lies. It's built on fears that aren't even yours. Maybe they were handed down by broken people, by society, by past failures. But none of that defines you unless you let it. When you focus on yourself, you learn to replace those lies with truth. You learn to question your doubts and believe in your strength. You start rewriting the narrative in your head. You become the author of your life, not the victim of your past. And as you grow stronger mentally, that inner voice transforms. It becomes your greatest ally instead of your worst enemy. People will misunderstand your silence. They'll misinterpret your boundaries. They'll think you've changed, and you have, but not for them. For you, focusing on yourself means choosing your peace over their opinions. It means protecting your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You don't owe anyone access to your soul. Not everyone deserves your time, your energy, your story. Mental strength is knowing who you are without needing to explain it. It's walking away without bitterness. It's standing tall when others expect you to fall. It's refusing to shrink just to make others comfortable. That's not ego. That's evolution. You'll notice something remarkable when you start focusing on yourself. You begin to attract peace, clarity, and real connections. The kind of people who don't drain you but inspire you. The kind of experiences that align with your purpose, not your pain. You're no longer chasing attention. You're creating intention. Mental strength isn't loud. It doesn't boast. It moves in silence and grows in the shadows. When you build yourself up from the inside, the outside has no choice but to follow. Your light becomes undeniable, not because you're trying to shine, but because you stop dimming it for others. There will be days when everything inside you screams to quit, when your heart feels heavy and your mind feels like a battlefield. But that's where strength is born. Not in the easy days, but in the days you show up anyway. When you get up, not because you feel like it, but because your future depends on it. When you choose to keep going even when no one's clapping, that's real power. That's mental toughness. It's in the small, consistent acts of defiance against your limitations. Every time you refuse to let pain stop you, you build a mental armor no one can take away. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean you stop caring for others. It means you start caring for yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't save others while drowning in your own chaos. When you invest in your mental strength, you show up better for everyone else. It's not selfish, it's necessary. You become more present, more patient, more powerful. Because now, your actions come from overflow, not obligation. You're no longer seeking validation from others. You're anchored in self-worth. That shift changes everything from your relationships to your results. Your environment matters. The people you surround yourself with shape your mindset. If you're around complainers, you'll start to complain. If you're around dreamers, you'll start to dream bigger. Focusing on yourself means curating your space. Removing toxicity, protecting your peace like it's your life, because it is. You can't build mental strength in chaos. You need stillness, structure, and support. Find those who challenge you to grow, not those who keep you small. This is your life, your energy, your destiny. Don't hand it over to people who don't even know where they're going. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. Motivation fades, feelings fluctuate. But discipline? Discipline is loyalty to your future self. It's showing up when it's inconvenient. It's choosing what's right over what's easy. When you focus on yourself, you realize that you're not waiting for the perfect moment, you're creating it. Every day you wake up and decide to be better, you become stronger. Not just physically, mentally, spiritually. You start walking with purpose, talking with clarity, acting with courage, and slowly but surely you become unstoppable. Your past might have been painful, but it doesn't have to define you. You're not your mistakes. You're not your failures. You're not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become. And the moment you focus on healing, growing, and transforming, that's the moment everything changes. You gain the power to break cycles, to choose differently, to rise above what tried to destroy you. Mental strength is not about forgetting the past. It's about owning it without letting it own you. It's about turning your wounds into wisdom and your scars into stories of survival. You're not behind. You're not late. You're exactly where you need to be to begin. Stop comparing your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20. Focus on your own journey, your own growth, your own timeline. Mental strength comes when you stop racing others and start running your own race. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Your path won't look like anyone else's, and that's your power. You're not meant to fit in. You're meant to stand out. Embrace the pace. Trust the timing. And most of all, stay committed to becoming the best version of you. You have to stop waiting for someone to save you. No one is coming, and that's not a tragedy, it's an opportunity. Because once you realize you are your own savior, you stop playing small. You stop settling for less. You start standing in your power and rewriting your story. You start making choices that honor your worth. Mental strength is knowing that while you can't control everything, you can control how you show up. And you can choose, right now, to rise. The world won't pause for your healing. It won't stop for your growth. That's why you have to take control of your own evolution. You have to choose yourself over and over again, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard, because nobody else can walk your path for you. Focus on yourself, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Your peace, your purpose, and your power all begin with one decision: to stop chasing noise and start listening to your inner voice. That voice will guide you not to comfort, but to greatness. The people you once relied on won't always understand your new mindset. That's okay. Growth isn't a group project. Focusing on yourself often means walking alone, at least for a while. But in that solitude, you find clarity. You start to see who's real and who is only there for a version of you that no longer exists. Don't be afraid to lose people who were never meant to stay. Be more afraid of losing yourself by trying to keep them. Mental strength is the courage to release what no longer aligns with your vision, your values, your energy. You owe it to yourself to protect your peace, even if it means disappointing others. There will be moments when your own mind becomes your battlefield. Doubts will rise. Insecurities will whisper. Old habits will try to creep in. But this is where the war is won within. You must train your mind like a muscle. Feed it with powerful thoughts. Discipline it with consistent action. Guard it from negativity. Your mind can be your prison or it can be your kingdom. The choice is yours. Focus is the sword. Discipline is the shield. And belief is the armor that keeps you moving forward, even when fear tries to pull you back. Never underestimate the power of mastering your mindset. You have a purpose that no one else can fulfill. But to unlock it, you have to silence the world and listen to your inner truth. You were not born to be average. You were not created to live in the shadows of doubt and fear. You were made to rise, to lead, to shine. And that begins the moment you stop letting others write your story. You must become obsessed with your growth, relentless with your discipline, unshakable in your belief. This is your life, and every day you're either building your dream or helping someone else build theirs. Which will it be? Every excuse you've ever used is a barrier between where you are and where you want to be. Too tired, too busy, too late. These are lies your comfort zone tells you to keep you small. But you were never meant to be small. You were built to expand, to evolve, to rise beyond limitations. The truth is, your future is being shaped by what you do today, not tomorrow. Focus on yourself so hard that your excuses feel uncomfortable in your presence. That's when you know you're leveling up, when the old you can no longer survive in the energy you're creating. No one sees the battles you fight behind the scenes, the nights you cried in silence, the days you doubted your worth, the moments you wanted to quit but didn't. That's what makes your strength so powerful. It's invisible, but undeniable. Focusing on yourself isn't glamorous. It's gritty. It's lonely, it's raw, but it's also transformational. Because when you rise from the ashes, no one can say it was luck. They'll have no idea what it took, but you will. And that truth will live in your spirit forever. Let go of the need to be understood. Most people can't grasp the vision you carry because it wasn't given to them, it was given to you. You weren't meant to fit into their expectations. You were meant to disrupt them, to evolve beyond them. Mental strength means embracing your uniqueness. It means following your path, even when it's unpopular. Even when it's misunderstood, because your journey isn't for their approval, it's for your awakening. And the more you honor your truth, the more your life becomes a reflection of power, not permission. You're not weak for struggling. You're strong for continuing. You're strong for getting up when everything inside you begged to stay down. That's real power. Not perfection, not pretending everything's okay, but showing up anyway. Again and again. Focusing on yourself means honoring your journey, the highs, the lows, the messy middle. It means being kind to yourself on the bad days and humble on the good ones. It means knowing that your value isn't tied to your productivity, but to your persistence. There is no timeline for healing, no deadline for growth. The moment you stop rushing your process is the moment you start honoring it. Focus on yourself so fully that you no longer crave shortcuts. Instead, you begin to embrace the long game. The slow, deep transformation that doesn't show immediate results but creates permanent change. That's where mental strength is born in patience, in faith, in the belief that even when nothing seems to be happening, everything is shifting beneath the surface. You have to choose yourself even when it feels selfish, because no one else can give you what you refuse to give yourself. Validation, respect, love, peace. It all begins with you. You teach the world how to treat you by how you treat yourself. Focus on yourself like your life depends on it, because it does. Everything you want, everything you dream, is on the other side of self-respect. You cannot build a strong life on a foundation of self-neglect. Prioritize your growth like it's the most important relationship in your life, because it is. The mind is powerful. It will believe whatever you feed it. If you tell yourself you're weak, it will look for evidence to prove it. But if you tell yourself you're capable, resilient, powerful, it will find ways to rise. Focusing on yourself means taking control of the conversation in your head, rewriting the script, refusing to accept thoughts that don't serve you. You don't have to believe everything you think. You get to choose which thoughts you water, which ones you starve. That's the power of mental strength that starts with awareness. You cannot elevate if you're always escaping. Distraction is the enemy of growth. Social media, toxic relationships, endless entertainment. They numb the pain, but rob you of purpose. When you focus on yourself, you begin to sit with your discomfort instead of running from it. And in that discomfort, you find the truth. You find the patterns. You find the breakthroughs. Every moment you resist the urge to escape is a moment you reclaim your power. Growth is uncomfortable because it requires honesty. But honesty will take you further than any illusion ever could. You will never find peace trying to please everyone. Their opinions will change. Their standards will shift. You'll exhaust yourself trying to keep up. But when you focus on yourself, you stop performing. You start living. You realize that you're not here to meet expectations. You're here to fulfill a mission. And that mission requires your full attention, your energy, your truth. Stop apologizing for choosing yourself. That's not selfish. That's sacred. There will always be voices trying to pull you off course. People who doubt you, circumstances that challenge you, inner demons that whisper lies. But you're not here to listen to noise. You're here to rise above it. Focusing on yourself means knowing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You can't win every battle. You can't prove your worth to everyone. But you can protect your mind. You can nurture your soul. You can choose your peace over their projections. And that choice, that's your power. Not every day will be productive. Not every moment will feel inspiring. But that doesn't mean you're failing. Focusing on yourself is not about perfection. It's about commitment. It's about showing up when it's boring, when it's hard, when no one is watching. Mental strength isn't built in motivation. It's built in discipline. The days you want to quit but don't. The times you fall but get back up. That's where greatness lies, not in the highlights, but in the grind. One day you'll look back and realize how far you've come, not because everything went perfectly, but because you kept going. You'll remember the days you wanted to give up but didn't, the nights you cried but still rose with the sun, the battles no one saw but you survived them all. Focusing on yourself will feel like the hardest thing you've ever done, but it will also become the most powerful, because in the end, you won't just have transformed your life, you'll have transformed your mind. And that changes everything. Growth will cost you. It'll cost you comfort, relationships, old habits, and outdated versions of yourself. But staying the same costs far more. It costs you your potential, your dreams, and the life you were meant to live. Focusing on yourself is the investment that pays you back in strength, clarity, and purpose. It's choosing long-term fulfillment over temporary comfort. It's saying, I'm worth the effort, even on the days when you don't feel like it. The price of becoming mentally stronger is high, but the price of regret is higher. Pay the price now, or pay the pain later. The choice is always yours. Your mind is either your weapon or your weakness. Every single day you decide which one it will be. Will you use it to break yourself down or build yourself up? To doubt yourself or to drive yourself forward? Focusing on yourself gives you the space to observe your thoughts without becoming them. You start questioning your patterns, your choices, your habits, not with judgment, but with curiosity. You ask, why do I do this? And what would happen if I chose differently? That self-awareness is the first step toward mental freedom. And freedom is what strength really feels like. There's a quiet power that comes from knowing yourself deeply, from understanding your triggers, your dreams, your wounds, and your values. When you focus on yourself, you stop being a stranger to your own soul. You stop betraying your instincts to fit in. You start honoring what's real within you. And when you live aligned with that truth, your energy becomes magnetic. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop settling and start rising. And it all begins with a decision to look inward instead of outward. Nobody sees the hours you spend healing, studying, grinding, failing, starting over. But you do. And that's all that matters. Mental strength is not about applause, it's about alignment. It's not about showing the world your wins, it's about knowing deep in your soul that you are evolving, that your roots are growing even when the world doesn't see the tree yet. Focusing on yourself means you stop measuring success by noise and start measuring it by growth, by peace, by progress, because real transformation is silent. And that silence, that's where the real work is done. You won't feel inspired every day. That's why focus matters more than motivation. Some days, the fire will dim, the doubts will grow louder. But if you've built the habit of returning to yourself, of staying grounded in your vision, you'll continue anyway. Mental strength is staying in the game even when your emotions try to bench you. It's knowing that feelings are temporary, but the life you're building is permanent. So you move forward tired, afraid, uncertain, but still moving. That's the essence of unbreakable strength. Stop waiting for permission to be great. Stop waiting for someone to tell you you're ready, worthy, or capable. You already are, but the world will only believe it when you do. That belief starts with focus, with doing the work no one sees, with investing in yourself so relentlessly that doubt can't survive in your presence. You are not here to be average. You are here to be exceptional, but only if you choose to be, only if you decide to rise, to grind, to evolve. Greatness isn't given. It's claimed through fire, through focus, through faith. You don't have to be the loudest to be the strongest. Real strength is quiet. It's in the discipline of your daily habits, in the way you carry yourself when no one's looking, in your ability to stay calm in chaos. Focusing on yourself sharpens that strength. It teaches you to choose grace over drama, peace over chaos, progress over perfection. It's in the way you keep your standards high even when others lower theirs, in the way you hold yourself accountable even when no one else does. That quiet strength, it's unstoppable. You cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. That's why change is necessary. Focusing on yourself means having the courage to leave what no longer serves you. Whether it's a place, a person, or a mindset, it means putting yourself in rooms where your potential is watered, not your insecurities, where your growth is celebrated, not resented. The stronger you become, the less tolerance you'll have for anything that drains you. And that's not cold, that's clarity. That's power. That's what mental strength looks like in action. Your time is your most valuable asset. You can't get it back. Every minute you spend on drama, distractions, and doubts is a minute you're not spending on your growth. Focusing on yourself means becoming ruthless with your energy, saying no more often, guarding your schedule like it's sacred, because it is. Your focus creates your future. What you do daily becomes who you are permanently. So ask yourself, are your habits feeding your greatness or your weakness? Your answer defines your direction. There's a version of you that you haven't met yet, a version that's fearless, focused, and unshakably strong. And the only way to meet that version is to outgrow the current one. That means shedding layers, releasing fears, breaking patterns. That process isn't easy, but it's worth it. Focusing on yourself means committing to that evolution, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. Because the pain of growth is far more beautiful than the comfort of staying stuck. You weren't born to repeat, you were born to evolve. You don't need a plan B when you're fully committed to plan A. Doubt creeps in when your focus is divided. When you're halfway in, halfway out. Mental strength is going all in on yourself, believing so deeply in your vision that failure isn't an option, only feedback. It means removing the back doors, the distractions, the escape routes. You either make it work or you make it work. That kind of clarity makes you unstoppable. Because when there's no retreat, there's only rise. Forgiveness is part of focus. You can't evolve while holding on to resentment. You can't rise while clinging to what hurt you. Focusing on yourself means letting go not for them, but for you. So you can be free, so you can move forward, so your energy can be directed toward growth, not grudges. Mental strength is choosing peace over pettiness. Healing over hatred, closure without confrontation. It's knowing that revenge wastes your power, but forgiveness multiplies it. Jealousy dies when you focus on your own path. The more you celebrate others while building yourself, the stronger you become. Comparison is a thief of both joy and focus. But when you're locked in on your growth, your mission, your vision, nothing distracts you. You realize that there's room for everyone to win, that someone else's light doesn't dim yours. Focusing on yourself teaches you that your only competition is your past self. And beating that version of you, that's the only race that matters. You will never regret the time you spent building yourself, the sacrifices, the lonely nights, the quiet progress. They all compound. They all add up. Focusing on yourself is the ultimate act of love, of discipline, of faith. It's you telling the world, I believe in me, even when no one else does. That belief is what changes lives. It's what makes ordinary people extraordinary. So don't wait for the world to believe in you first. And the world will catch up. Success isn't a moment, it's a mindset. It's who you become in the process of chasing something greater. It's the strength you build when no one's watching. The resilience you gain when everything goes wrong and you keep going. Focusing on yourself isn't about ego, it's about elevation. About becoming the kind of person who can handle the life you're building. That inner foundation, that's what mental strength is all about. Because when the storm comes, and it always does, you won't break. You'll rise. There's nothing more dangerous than a person who chooses peace over chaos, who chooses silence over drama, who chooses growth over validation. When you focus on yourself, the noise fades. You no longer need to prove yourself because you've already become yourself. That's the most powerful position you can stand in. Not shouting your worth, but radiating it. Not reacting to every slight, but moving with purpose. That's what true strength feels like, not in domination, but in direction. You're no longer chasing the world. You're leading your own. Pain is a powerful teacher if you let it be. Instead of numbing it, avoiding it, or resenting it, study it. What did it come to show you? Where is it pointing you? When you focus on yourself, even your pain becomes purposeful. It becomes a mirror that reveals what still needs healing, what still needs shifting. And when you lean into that reflection, you find strength you never knew you had. You stop fearing the hurt and start trusting the process. Because pain, when processed correctly, becomes wisdom. And wisdom makes you mentally bulletproof. Your future depends on your focus, not your luck, not your past, not your surroundings. What you focus on expands. If you give your attention to problems, they'll multiply. If you give your energy to solutions, they'll manifest. Mental strength is choosing your focus, deliberately choosing what to ignore and what to build. Focusing on yourself is taking back the wheel of your life. It's saying, no more autopilot. I drive from here. And from that moment forward, everything changes. You must stop expecting people to understand your hunger when they're full on comfort. You're not like them. You weren't built to settle. That fire inside of you, it was placed there for a reason. So feed it, protect it, and focus on it. Because when you focus on yourself, your light gets brighter. And yes, it might blind those still living in darkness. But that's not your burden to carry. Your only responsibility is to shine, to rise, and to become everything you were created to be without apology. Mental strength is built in silence, when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, when the only cheerleader you have is the voice in your own head. And sometimes even that voice will doubt you, but you keep going anyway. That's real power. Focusing on yourself teaches you how to be your own motivation, your own validation, your own sanctuary. You stop depending on the people to lift you and start lifting yourself. And once you master that, you become unstoppable. The world will try to distract you. It will throw noise, fear, opinions, and temptations in your path. But your strength is in your ability to return to center, to block out the static and tune into your soul. That's what focusing on yourself means. It means anchoring yourself so deeply that no storm can shake you. It means knowing who you are so clearly that the world's confusion doesn't touch you. That's what being mentally stronger is all about: unshakable inner clarity in a chaotic outer world. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not your past. You are who you choose to become today. And every day, that choice is available to you. Focusing on yourself gives you the space to rewrite your story, to release the shame, to own the lesson, to create a new ending. Mental strength is built in those quiet choices, the decision to rise again, to believe again, to try again. Don't let an old version of you hold the pen. Pick it up, rewrite it all. You don't need anyone else to choose you. You just need to choose yourself over and over again, on the days when you feel unworthy, on the days when you feel unseen. That's when it matters most. Focusing on yourself means validating your own existence, celebrating your own efforts, believing in your own magic. You become the source of your own power, not the seeker of it. And when you truly choose yourself, the world has no choice but to catch up to your frequency. Be careful what you tolerate. It teaches people how to treat you. The standards you hold for yourself determine the standards others will hold for you. Focusing on yourself means raising the bar, not just in how you perform, but in what you accept. You stop begging for energy that should be freely given. You stop explaining your worth. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Mental strength is saying, I don't chase, I align. And if someone doesn't meet you at your level, you keep rising anyway. There is no glory in burnout. There is no strength in self-neglect. Hustle means nothing if it costs you your health, your peace, your soul. Focusing on yourself means honoring rest. It means understanding that rest is not weakness, it's strategy. It's part of the process. It's how you recharge, reflect, and return stronger. Mental strength is not go. It's knowing when to pause, when to breathe, and when to protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. You are not falling behind. You are on your own timeline. The comparison trap is a lie. Their success is not your failure. Their journey is not your path. When you focus on yourself, you free yourself from the illusion of competition. You realize that your only job is to become the best version of you, not a copy of them. Stay in your lane. Trust your pace. The real flex isn't arriving first, it's arriving whole, strong, aligned, focused. That's the win that lasts. Focus reveals everything. It shows you who you are. It shows you who you're not. It highlights your strengths and your flaws, your wounds and your wisdom. That's why most people avoid it. But not you. You're choosing the path of growth, of awareness, of mastery. And that starts with brutal honesty, with seeing yourself fully and loving yourself through it all. That's what makes you mentally stronger, not perfection, but radical self-acceptance. That's how real transformation begins. You're not behind, you're being prepared. The struggles, the delays, the detours, they're not punishment. They're preparation. You're being shaped for what you asked for. Focusing on yourself helps you trust the process even when you don't see the promise yet. You start to see that every setback is a setup. Every obstacle is an opportunity. You don't crumble under pressure, you're refined by it. Because diamonds aren't made in comfort. They're made in fire. And you too are becoming something unbreakable. One day the world will look at you and see strength. But you'll know it wasn't luck. It was discipline. It was late nights, early mornings, hard choices, sacrifices no one saw, moments of doubt that you overcame alone. When you focus on yourself, you build quietly. You rise slowly. And then suddenly, you're unrecognizable. Not because you became someone else, but because you finally became you. That's what it means to be mentally strong. That's what it means to truly evolve. This is your time. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Right now. The life you want is not built on hope. It's built on habits. Built on focus. Built on the courage to choose you. Over and over again. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Mental strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you create. Through discipline. Through vision. Through relentless self-love. So focus on yourself like your life depends on it, because it does. And when you do, nothing can stop you. Not even you.